most of them youth, don't see the music as, proper, Them see the music as a way out of poverty, a way out of getting a car, a way out of getting a house, a way out of looking for them family. So it's not like say them have used the music as music. It's a means to an end them a deal with now, say, why, if them could have get big like this artist and that the artist say, and no matter what it takes, them go and go do it. So them not have a principle that them a follow. Them have a thing where say it's poverty them a work with. So when you come now with your argument about, reflection of ideas and things, even if them don't see it in them community, them see it on the TV, them see it on the iPhone Wednesday night. It warmish part right there, but it cold outside there, believe you me. Serious cold are going on. Why all the people them who work at night, Yeah, we are talking about the security guard them, the dressmaker them, the carpenter them, the mechanic them, why all the man them who are patch tire up on the roadside. What them want to do with it. Yeah, man, we're there with you. So we will go through the paces. Them call it Woman Month. Everybody have a month now, Everybody have a month me need in them time, yeah. By the way, we were supposed to talk to Cardell Green at the night, yeah, Anybody know who name Cardell? Yeah, from the Broadcasting Commission. Supposed to talk to him at the night, yeah. But I think coming up, yeah, it's tomorrow too. The thing is tomorrow. We're going to take the first break with you upon the cutting edge. We have a guest up on the radio, it's long time. We don't talk to him. And here. Good afternoon, Mr. Green.
Yes, the great Mutabaruka. It has been in the making for a long time.
Look, man, all your people, I'm going to say you're old, man. You can't talk them over up on radio.
I don't know. You need to link me directly.
Them talk to me like, why you want to that late? It late, man, like him gone to in bed.
No, sir. You know better than that.
Anyway, for those of you who don't know who I talk to, this is the man where if you play a tune where bad of the night, you get reprimanded by him, Cardell Green from the Broadcasting Commission. Also, him deal with television too, and all the things them that not supposed to be aired at certain times of the night too. So, apart from that, we want to talk to him, but we want to talk to him about something that is going to happen tomorrow, where apparently him get me involved in. I don't know how me reach this. So you can just explain to the people then what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yes, Muta. No, well, a man like you as a historian, philosopher, deep in the music, this kind of discussion cannot take place without people like you. This is a public forum, which is going to be on the internet tomorrow from 9:30 in the morning to 11. And I want people to hear what we're going to be talking about. The topic is bridging generational gaps, safe and healthy consumption of content. And that includes music. Lots of weighty things there. Safe and healthy invites wide subjectivity. And this thing about bridging generational gaps is about the need for us to understand each other, the generations. It is very, very difficult for us to build a society, build a community, program radio and television, and even the social media, through younger people who are coming into the world with different perceptions, and we, the older ones who must guide or work along them, are strangers. We need to know what frequency the youths are on. What are they thinking? Why they gravitate to certain lyrics? Why they react differently to different lyrics and sound? In other words, we are picking up that apart from the fact that we do know that there is a problem, we do know that we have harmful content and problematic content. Apart from that, we also know that there is a lot of judgment that goes on. Younger people judging older people judging younger people. And we might not all agree on what is good or bad music. But I really do believe that if the generations start to talk together, we would understand that speech-created harms are real and challenging to address. And that issue did not begin with the current generation. Sometimes when we talk about the social issues and we talk about music and challenges we have with the music, we get too optimistic, some of us in a certain generation, too optimistic about the rightness of what we have to say and too pessimistic about what other people are saying, even if it sounds like foolishness. I was reflecting the other day, I was reading something muta from the great Eric Clapton. And here that brother says something that really caused me to reflect. He said it took him more than 30 years plus many people dying. He saw people like Jimi Hendrix die, Janis Joplin die. 30 years, he said it took him, plus those people dying, for him to realize as an artist that he has a responsibility to society. So we definitely need to reason with the people who are 16 and 17 and 18 and 19, just finding their footing. We have to reason with them about the expectations that we have as artists, because a lot of these youth don't come out and say them project themselves or set themselves up to be anybody priest or anybody parent. They go through their own struggle when they're going studio and them I go through for them thing, nobody don't see them. As soon as they come out with their music, everybody spotlight them. And we have to have a conversation with them to remind them about this phenomenal gift that they have as players of instruments, and to have a conversation about what is the purpose, really, of the arts? What's the purpose? Yes, you have to question through music and lyrics. You should challenge the status quo through music and lyrics. That is what Bob Marley did and Peter Tosh. You are supposed to reflect what is going on through music and lyrics, but you're also supposed to enlighten. And so the conversation really is there a lack of balance? Meaning, are we doing too much reflection? We are reflect wagwan. Whatever we observe, how we see man treat with mother, or we observe man treat at a woman, or how man behave with them gun, what we got through in our socialization. You have a lot of youth who come and they put out the worst thing when certain people receive it. And you talk to them about it and they say, I am reflecting reality. But what is the point of reflecting evil if you're not at the same time seeking to enlighten and to question your own experiences. So that is really the context of this dialogue. And you ask me, how a man like Mutabaruka come into this? Who else could moderate a conversation like that? It requires a certain intellectual depth and diplomatic dexterity and also respect across generations. And I don't believe anybody would question that.
I can say something. The idea of telling a youth, say, him reflecting too much. Most of them youth, don't see the music as, proper, Them see the music as a way out of poverty, a way out of getting a car, a way out of getting a house, a way out of looking for them family. So it's not like say them use the music as music. It's a means to an end them a deal with now, say, why if them could have get big like this artist and that the artist say, and no matter what it takes, them go and go do it. So them have a principle that them a follow. Them have a thing where say it's poverty them a work with. So when you come now with your argument about, reflection of ideas and things, even if them don't see it in them community, them see it on the TV, them see it on the iPhone and the laptop and all them something there. It's a bounce back at them, and them say, but this is something where them can use to come out of poverty. So how you deal with a youth like that we don't see it as music? Because nowadays, a whole heap of the thing that we are going on is not music. It's just something them do, and that something create a vibes and an attitude. And them get money out of it, and then them say, them reach there. How you deal with that?
Well, by starting with saying, they are not the only ones who did say music that way. They are not the only ones who see other people and said, that is the lifestyle I want. They are not the only ones who said, I am only going to reflect what is my experience. This has been going on from time immemorial with music. If you go back to when Bob Marley was their age, there was a similar dialogue going on about whatever it was that he was communicating.
Rude boy.
Or exactly. And until people took the time to hear, not just hear, but listen to the message, they could have misunderstood burning and looting tonight. Right? I mean, if Bob Marley in 2025 had been 17 years old and released a song where him said, I feel like bombing a church, know that I know the preacher is lying, that ban. No question at all about it. That is not classic music. That is heresy. That is how it would be received. So we need to have the conversation. And the reason I pointed you to Eric Clapton is to make this is a massive artist, as you know. Massive. Revered. And if he says it took him 30 years and the death of Hendrix and Chaplin, this great artist, it took him all of that time to realize his responsibility as an artist. Then we have to understand that the youths are coming with a lot of limitations as well as a lot of capabilities. And if the conversation doesn't take place, all you're going to have is alienation. I want to tell you something. You said a while ago, and I will agree with you, and a lot of people listening right now will agree with you, what putting out right now. You know, boy, a music that there's no melody. Well, I am telling you something. There are no youths who are 14, 15, 16, 17. When me and you pass on muta, and them youth you know who are 14, 15, 16, 17, when them turn 45 and 50 years old, may I bet you say, them a sit down in a corner as old man and them a go say, music we're playing now in 2016 and a good music. Back in my day, when King and Tommy Lee and Chronic Law and Skilly Bang and Croft and Tommy Lee started, when them man they make music, the best music, when me I hear now and the music. No, there's going to be some truth in the continuity across generations. We have to have some measure of determining what is of high quality and low quality. But the point I'm making is that there's a lot of subjectivity in that. Music is a personal thing. And so I believe there is more to be gained in a conversation. Just a conversation about what are your perceptions, where you understand by certain things. Because sometimes you listen to them people. Just a few weeks ago, I was at the Jamaica Pegasus as a speaker at a big meeting organized by the Ministry of Culture. One of the people them would bring as a speaker was Valiant. It's the first time I sit down and actually listen to that youth on a stage. The whole thing was organized for young people. And his talk was one of the most motivational, powerful talks I'd ever heard of a young person talking to other young person. But it's the same man who put out Fully Dance. So there needs to be a conversation with him. What was your intent? I mean, did you mean harm? Or is it that when you put out them song there, the truth is enough youth gravitate towards it. Because we're at school and we know that some people sit down in the back and they're not paying no attention. And somehow we can connect them to that kind of music. But I don't know. But that conversation has to take place. And I want to tell you something, Muta. When I heard Valiant at the Pegasus talking to those students and all the controversy that went on about his song, which, by the way, he did not do and he didn't speak about, it struck me. You know, perhaps the principals and the teachers should have a conversation with him before they condemn. And even if they don't have a conversation with him, don't go down the route of alienation. If I was a principal and Valiant put out Fully Done and me see my student, them a gravitate towards that. May I tell you, Muta at devotion, may I come out and greet them and enough for them language. If they call themselves dog, may I come out and may I say morning to on a dog because on a principal there, fully done, me fully done in lateness, me fully done in mediocrity, me fully done in bad parenting, me fully done in man beat in woman, me fully done in rich quick, me fully done in shopping, me fully done in the one get rich quick and drive car, and me no want work. Me fully done in sell your body. Me fully done in bleaching. You see where I'm going?
You way I say, I don't know if I see where you're going, but you way I say.
Reverse psychology. But it's not going to happen if, first of all, we don't open ourselves to a total dismissal as distinct from, let me see how we can turn this around, or at least try to get an understanding. What socialization led to this output? What trauma led to this output?
The socialization is that we are now more exposed to outside influence that take a hold of a cultural expression in a Jamaica. You know, the fashion, the way we talk, the way we eat, the way we drink, and the way we relate to each other is totally different. When 50 years ago and I hear certain tune, I never said them tune, there was foolishness, you know. I used to listen to what my mother listened to. I never used to call her song them foolishness. As a matter of fact, I did find myself, I love them, that I start collect them. So when I youth hear all certain song now, I play a part one time and I play Dennis Brown and the daughter come to me and say, we can play some reggae. So I say, so what you call this? She say, you don't know, we could have just play some reggae. And that is a kind of a need for understand, but don't want to know something out of your set. Because really and truly, I never used to complain about when my mother listened to. I know say them youth, if you put on something where me personally I listen to now, I'm going to tell you say what kind of song that you play. When you play some, you know, our kind of music.
And it behoves us to reflect on that, because the music education, you remember some years ago when this youth Depan Digital Rising Star sing a whole heap of Jimmy Cliff song. I can't remember his name now. He was the one who was up against Christopher Martin. And he was singing
Not a virtue.
Not a virtue. Who that, Shane?
Yeah, man.
Hey, you're right.
Yeah, man, we're good, man.
Yeah, man, not the virtue,
yes.
matter about.
Yes, not the virtue. Right. And I heard, I think it's Frankie Campbell from Fab 5 told me the story that Jimmy Cliff go up to the university to be honored by the university, and Jimmy Cliff, when he got the honorary doctorate, started to perform, and you have some
song.
A quarrel if him not have no original song for himself.
Yeah, it's another version. That I'm to Babandi too.
Well, it's music education, Muta. We talk about the youth and what they are lacking in. I agree with you entirely about your parents' music. I didn't grow up listening to my parents' music because from the time I knew myself, my mother was a staunch 70 Adventist. So nothing don't play in my house that is secular music. But I know what you're talking about, because my daughter, when she was very young, me play Burning Spear in my car, and even if she never liked it, me turn it in a gimmickry and a dance, and I say I'm a favorite artist, and I flash my head like me have locks, and she laugh and she find it funny. And now you go and you ask her if she know Peter Tosh, if she know Burning Spear, if she know Heineken Mose, she going to say yes, but it's not her generation. So, but there are also a lot of different things that's going on now, Muta. You talking about parenting and relationship with your mother and relationship with your father in a particular context where you were parented. Whole heap of youth growing up now, they are barrel children. Them not grow up with the mother. Them move around from auntie to uncle to cousin. And even if they are in the house with their parents, they are strangers. They are on a device in a them bedroom, and the parents are in a device in their bedroom. So that kind of opportunity to influence, particularly Muta at a very young age, when they sap up everything, Right now, you got to talk to a whole heap of parents, and what them going to tell you say, is how for them baby brilliant, because the baby don't can even talk yet, and the baby can control the iPad and find them cartoon and watch what them want on TikTok and that kind of thing. There is
I'm not
no...
talking about that. I'm not talking about that. The parents, I use the picnic, when I want to say picnic, the daughter clothes for go at the same dance where the daughter go. And sometimes the parents and the daughter buck up in the same dance hall and do the same kind of dance.
True.
You know, so all of that is something where we have to confront. But I want to go back to something. It's just weird that you mentioned Eric Clapton. I don't know yet, but I hear. So you have to tell me because you are the broadcasting man. I hear that on the band, I Shot the Sheriff.
Total foolishness.
A foolishness?
Total fool, just like
you serious?
Yes, Muta, just like how Queen Africa say, Daddy don't touch me there. She here say, it ban that Broadcasting Commission ban.
No go so.
No go so. But
no, me actually say, if you don't do nothing else tonight, you do something tonight. If you don't do nothing else tomorrow, you do something tonight. Yeah. Daddy don't touch me there. It's not a banned song by the Broadcasting Commission.
So look, let me tell you something. I would have resigned if something like that happened. That would have been total foolishness.
I Shot the Sheriff is not a band song.
No, there is no basis. You see, let me tell you something. What is happening is that you have a lot of people who don't understand context and word and meaning.
Yeah.
Them don't understand, for example, why you have a youth sing, where all of them did come and, Egyptian sing, a hypocrite, him sing, she give me the tightest hole me ever get in my life, and that not ban. And I said, reflect on what Egyptian is singing. And he's not the first one. Me want me pianist. Me need me pianist. You bring intelligence to music.
Yeah. Like the California and them. The California have a way to do that.
Yes, it's about context. Long time girl may never see you. Come make me hold your hand. We don't say she held me tight. She hold me tight, girl. Right? No. Other people say it's a different hole he must sing about. But there's no way in which the Broadcasting Commission could come to that conclusion when you look at the word that he used in relation to other words.
Cardell Green.
Yes, sir.
Cardell Green. She and I listen to you, and 100,000 people out there listen to you tonight. You are now telling Mutabaruka upon the cutting edge that I Shot the Sheriff and Daddy is not a band tune by the Broadcasting Commission. I
am telling you that. And I'm going to go further and tell you something. You know, one of the reasons Broadcasting Commission don't ban songs, and that's the other thing, though. People say, ban. Broadcasting Commission don't deal with artists. We deal with you. In fact, we don't even deal with Mutabaruka. We deal with the license holder for IRFM.
Yes, the station.
You understand what I'm saying?
Station.
Here what no. Let me tell you something. You know, my personal experience, it hasn't happened recently, but my personal experience, two things. You have an artist one time, we got TVJ, go do an interview, and the artist do the interview at the same time, and the artist tell me personally, say, informer management go to the newspaper and report say Broadcasting Commission ban him song as a marketing strategy. 1. 2. Media Broadcasting Commission one time with a woman pester me about a certain song. That nothing play on radio and blah blah blah. Never hear about the song yet. Nobody don't know about the song yet. Fair song. She try create controversy. So banning a song is the greatest marketing gift that can be given to an artist. So that's the first thing that is foolish about the notion that Broadcasting Commission ban. We don't, and people come all the time, we must put out a list of banned songs. We don't deal with artists. You have a responsibility as Mutabaruka. Shane has a responsibility at your level, just as I did when I was on radio. And ultimately, the station owners, we are the gatekeepers. The artist is not the gatekeeper. The artist is not even the gate man. So we don't really deal with artists. We reference the artists, whether good or bad. So if somebody complains, Egyptian, she give me the tightest hole in my life, and that is slackness, and the Broadcasting Commission is obligated in law to look at it it's a quasi-judicial body, and to adjudicate. And the station is told,
yes,
we have examined the song, and for these reasons, there's no violation of any
I understand
regulation.
you clearly. I understand you clearly.
Yeah.
Shane.
Man, may I hear you?
Where's Shane there?
Yes, man. Me there, man.
Shane, did you hear, or is you make it up, say, I Shot the Sheriff was banned?
No, I never hear that. But me there do a little search because something in my mind, I tell me say there was a thing with the Queen Ifrica.
Yeah, Queen Ifrica want to come to Queen Ifrica.
Yeah, man. So
I was told that Queen Ifrica song that it was banned. That I started to play the Spanish version.
Yeah.
No, sir. How could you ban a song that is saying
Yes.
incest?
And that me I said too. And that me that I was totally taken aback.
Incest. A topic that is kept under the rug, and you have one artist. I cannot recall any other artist in the world, more so female artists, to so frontally
Yes.
deal with a challenging topic.
Yes.
And, well, let me tell you something. The song I know come out when I was executive director at the Broadcasting Commission. So unless it was an executive director before me and another version of that song, there is absolutely no basis. Nothing said. Incest, daddy, don't touch me there. I'm going to tell on you one day, I swear. You're supposed to be my father. What in that could violate? And I want to tell you something. Let me go further. It would be a foolish holder of a broadcast license and a weak on-air announcer who would not challenge that openly and also through litigation. That to me would be the clearest case to challenge on the basis of freedom of expression not being violated.
Regine, I'm glad to talk to you.
Africa bring the evidence. Africa bring the evidence.
Me could go back to tomorrow. What will happen tomorrow?
9 o'clock muta. We are saying if you're not registered yet, go to any social media handle with the Broadcasting Commission at Broadcasting Commission. 9:30 to 11. Muta will be moderating a discussion on bridging generational gaps, safe and healthy consumption of content. And you're going to hear the MC is Archibald Garden from TVJ News. The great Clyde Mackenzie is going to speak. The great Wayne Chen, who is the author of Reggae Roots, the story of Jamaican music, is a speaker. The great Andrea Dempster Chung, the co-founder of Kingston Creative. Two young people bringing their perspective. One of them, Courtney Jackson. Courtney, a young artist, the late Karen Smith and Jackie Jackson's daughter. And then you have a youth who is the guild president up at the university, and a social media influencer and a young gospel artist named Perry Cummings. Perry in Christ. So it should make for a wonderful discussion.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. And as you say, it starts at
9:30.
9:30.
9:30 until 11.
Yeah, so so I have to come out because I have to step in razor tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon.
Yes,
I have to be back here to set up for the stepping razor.
Yes, man, you will be good. Don't worry about it.
So, yes, Carl, I want you to give thanks, and trust me, if you don't do nothing tonight, you do something tonight. And
well,
that
I'm happy about that.
Even though I play the Spanish version, because I don't want to get the station, no problem.
No, sir.
But now that you say it coming from the, I don't know if it's an ass or I don't know which mouth it come from.
No ass. May we take personal responsibility.
No. They don't want to take the whole world here. You say that.
May I tell you something? Let me be very frank with you. It would be diabolical, near heresy. I cannot hear anything in Daddy Don't Touch Me there.
I know you're it, Nina. I know you're not in the football.
Would justify it not being played. You know what I think? I believe you have people who, for whatever reason, don't want to play that song, and the easiest thing for them to say is Broadcasting Commission said don't play. Yeah, easiest thing.
I want to tell you about the next one where I hear to them band too. But I will Uno band. That told me so she get it from a letter from, I don't know which part she get it. And the tune by Dennis Brown named Caress Me?
No.
Yeah, you have a tune Dennis Brown sing Caress Me, girl. Them say she not to play it.
Me, and then, no, me not.
Yeah, all right. Well, you can go Google it when you don't talk, and tomorrow me play it for you. So we want to give thanks, Cardell. We give thanks.
Every time, anytime, Muta. Respect.
All right, so tomorrow we'll deal with it.
Shane!
Yeah, man. Bless up, Cardell.
One love.
Yeah,
Take
man.
it easy. All right.
Okay, that was Cardell Green from the Broadcasting Commission. And the whole world hear him say it, I'm so glad that I bring it up, Daddy, Don't Touch Me There is not, and I repeat, it's not a band song. It can be played on the radio. I Shot the Sheriff is not a band song. It can be played on the radio. Take it, tell them, say, you hear it from Muta program. If you know where I get yourself in, no problem. Tell them, say, you hear it Muta program from the highest authority. The highest authority from the Broadcasting Commission. We want to play this clip. It's a clip with an American white man and a native from Turtle Island. We call America Turtle Island because that's what they call it. I don't know how much I know, but Manhattan is an island. Yeah, Manhattan is an island. And one of the biggest real estate scam was that Manhattan was sold for $25. You hear me say? Manhattan was sold for $25. I think it's $24 too, if I'm not making a mistake. But we want to play this clip here. Listen.
The United States government is offering you a piece of land of your own.
We have
like that.
Then how can they own it?
He has a point. On your country to take care of you.
You are not my country.
Mr. Durant, if we could just...
To a interview. I don't know how much I know this woman named Chiombori. She's always saying some things about Africa. As a matter of fact, she's from Africa. But it's not often Jackie give me something to play up on the radio. And I listen to it and I say, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play it. And it has to connect it to what Trump do with this USAID. So those of you who don't know what USAID mean, maybe you should have really Google it, because if you don't know it now, it's a serious thing. It's an agency set up by America for international development, where them go and help people all over the globe who need help. But as you know, America not giving nothing for nothing, you know. And sometimes it is all about what can you do for me, one and watch the other. We're going to play this. We're going to play this. I must listen to it keenly, this interview we have.
Hi, I'm Steve Clemens, and I have a question. With the termination of tens of billions of dollars of U.S. aid and humanitarian assistance to Africa and elsewhere around the world, is this going to create waves of tragedy? Let's get to the bottom line. Thousands of USAID workers and has terminated its programs and most global humanitarian assistance. There have been some exceptions for life-saving programs, but these are small waivers amidst an onslaught of huge, massive aid cuts. Africa stands out as the most impacted. But what may disappear? Humanitarian assistance, infrastructure support, medicine and food programs. These are all substantial for countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, which receives about $1.34 billion each year. Ethiopia, which gets about $1.2 billion. Sudan, nearly $800 million. And other major grants going to Nigeria, to South Sudan, Kenya, Mozambique, Uganda, and more. But some see a silver lining in this gutting of U.S. support for the continent. With aid, they say, there has been substantial political meddling and resource exploitation that has demeaned and sidelined African empowerment and economic growth. So rather than trauma with the USAID cuts, there could be opportunity, they say. Today, we're talking with Ambassador Adikana Chihombori Kwao, a medical doctor and former permanent representative of the African Union to the United States. Ambassador, it is terrific to have you with me in stage here in studio. Let me just ask you, if I look through the USAID programs, some of which have been cut off, in Congo, there's an aid group, Action Against Hunger. This is they're treating tens of thousands of malnourished children. In Ethiopia, food assistance stopped for more than 1 million people, as we've seen these AID cuts go into force, really across the board with very, very few waivers. How is Africa feeling this moment? Do you see this as a story of tragedy, or is there something else that we need to be looking at?
I think there's something else we need to be looking at. There is need for readjustments. There is need for realignment. We need to understand the real reason why USAID is in Africa. And not just USAID, but other NGOs. You look at DFID, which is the British equivalent, and many other smaller ones. Their sole purpose was to act as if they're coming to rescue Africa. They're coming to fill in the gaps in government services, gaps in education, gaps in healthcare, gaps in humanitarian services. They're coming in the guise of addressing issues to do with human rights, issues to do with environmental protection and social justice. They are coming in claiming that they're introducing grassroots initiatives that are going to help the people. And so they use that as a way to go into the most remote parts of Africa. They're talking about government advocacy. When you look at it on paper, it all looks really good. But they're actually wolf in sheep's clothing. They are using that open access sounding humanitarian to constantly destabilize governments. I can tell you right now, the majority of African leaders, and not just African leaders, but leaders in the developing world, are celebrating the exit of USAID. I was listening to a program, I believe it was CNN, and I was jumping up and down. It was a government official from Hungary. He was echoing the same sentiments. He said they are happy USAID is leaving Hungary because they are always supporting opposition. Their form of government advocacy is supporting whoever can keep the government in a turmoil.
So, Ambassador, let me just jump in here for you. This is a message that I don't think many Americans hear. I think many Americans believe, not all of them, but many of them believe that AID was essentially set up for philanthropic reasons, for dealing with the HIV/AIDS crisis, dealing with the various instabilities in the region, dealing with infrastructure deficits. But you're saying that there was something else as part of that package, meddling.
A major meddling agenda. Major meddling agenda. The majority of some of the workers, now the average USAID worker may not realize it, but quite a few of them are also operatives who are underground, and their major agenda is to destabilize governments, destabilize countries. If you think about it, their sole purpose, for example, filling in the gaps in healthcare and education, where is the change? Show me one country that USAID was in and education improved. Show me what country where USAID was in and healthcare improved. The social services they're bringing, it's peanuts. The American taxpayer needs to know the billions of dollars that are being given to USAID, a fraction is making it to the people.
Look, one of the highest profile medicine programs is PEPFAR, which both Republicans and Democrats here in Washington are really having outcries about. It was one of the signature programs of President George W. Bush to try to respond to the HIV/AIDS epidemic in Africa. What's the view on that front?
Let's look at what HIV/AIDS was used to do. We know of a program that was run out of South Africa where they actually were injecting people with the virus. The reason some of the AIDS virus spread as rapidly as it did in Southern Africa, there were some very dirty games being played on African people. They were using Africans as guinea pigs for experimental activities. Even when you look at every aspect, they're using us as guinea pigs. Yes, there is some good, a percentage of some good, but not all of it is done with good intentions. You look at agriculture, they're destroying African agriculture by introducing those GMOs. You plant your seed in one season, your soil is finished. We used to have seeds that we can use from one season to the other. The introduction of GMOs through these agencies, USAID is one of them. We are destroying Africa in a massive way. A little good is coming out, but by and large, the end result, they mean no good. They can turn around and give us an inventory and say, as long as you have been in Africa and also other parts of the world, show us your success rate. You claim you're helping governments with education and healthcare. Show us your success rate. But I also turn around and say, African governments, why do you need this little aid to assist you in providing proper healthcare, proper education? The average African government can afford to provide those services for their people.
I happen to have many friends that work for USAID, both in the field but also in Washington. And I have to tell you, I know that they believe that they're doing good, that they're trying to move the needle for those that are in desperate situation and desperate conditions. I think it's very interesting to raise the question of what the other political purposes are. But as you sort of look at the scene now, the French are very big in aid programs. As you mentioned, the British, there are also Chinese aid programs. Are all of these programs essentially power plays and all of them need to be suspended? How do you see some of the other international programs in Africa now?
Well, these are all underground covert operations. Why does Africa need them? Why do we need them? Africa has been the provider. If you look at Europe, Europe cannot survive without Africa. One situation that people don't realize, post-World War, when the US came up with the Marshall Plan, what they don't tell you is that the contribution through exploitation of African minerals was actually the biggest funder of the European Recovery Plan, ERP, aka the Marshall Plan. US contributed $13 billion, which is now present day $175 billion, which, by the way, the American taxpayer must be paid back. Nobody's asking for that money back. But what they don't tell you is that Africa, through exploitation of its resources by the Europeans, was actually a much bigger contribution to the European recovery post-World War II. Nobody talks about that. Why does such a continent that did so much to help Europe recover continue to be so poor? Let's be realistic here. Let's not talk about peanuts. Africa does not need the aid. What we need is for those who are exploiting Africa to stop. Africa has everything it needs. If Africa could have contributed as much as it did to the recovery of Europe post-World War II, why wasn't Africa equally developed?
So what happens next, Adhikana? You and I have talked about this before, and the exploitation of minerals, of uranium, of cobalt, of nickel, et cetera, and many other rare earths, which is apparently very much on President Trump's mind, because we see the negotiation for rare earths with Ukraine. But you and I have talked about the artificially low prices and the fact that many economies in Africa don't participate in the gains and growth of the exploitation of those resources. What happens now when these aid programs are withdrawing? Does the social contract between, American mining operations or other global mining operations, does it give an opportunity for the power dynamic to shift and change? And what will that look like?
I think this is a wake-up call for the African leaders. To the same extent that President Trump is saying USA first, African leaders must also say Africa first. This is a wake-up call to the African leaders to take inventory of what is really happening in their countries. Do they really need the peanuts that are coming in as aid? What is really going out? If I may use the example of what happened in Niger when the government decided they were going to take over the mining of their uranium. The French companies that were mining the uranium were paying the government 80 cents a kilo for the uranium, and then turning around and selling the uranium to the rest of the world at 200 euros a kilo. So that one move from the Nigerian government to say we are now going to take ownership of our own uranium, they went from realizing about $1 billion in uranium resources to over 300 billion a year. Do you realize what I'm talking about? No amount of NGO could bring that kind of money. And this is only one mineral. Now imagine the country taking inventory of all their minerals and benefiting from their natural resources like the rest of the countries in the Western world. That is what African leaders need to look at.
Do you see that in the horizon of African leaders right now? Do you see them? Who do you see as the standout winners of that kind of change? And who do you think is still chasing AID contracts?
Let me tell you, we need to look at what's happening in Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali. President Traore is standing up. He is saying the natural resources in Burkina Faso, they belong to the people of Burkina Faso. Niger is doing the same thing. Mali is doing the same thing. Every leader must look at what's happening in the Sahel nations to say, like anybody else, you must take care of your people. You have your natural resources. You have everything you need to take care of your people. Why do you continue to be beggars? Look at what is being brought in by not only USAID, but all the NGOs in your country. It's peanuts. It's a joke that the African leaders should continue to be beggars of peanuts when you are looking and allowing billions to get out of your country year in and year out, if not trillions, in natural resources that your people should be benefiting from. It is a wake-up call for African leaders to wake up and say, President Trump is saying, US first, America first. You too must say, your country first, because you have everything it takes. It is a joke. It is embarrassing to see I have not seen any African leader cry over USAID living. I can tell you for a fact, the average African leader privately is celebrating the exit of USAID because they know what is really going on.
Let me ask you a geopolitical question. And again, you and I have had the opportunity on the show to talk about it before, which is the relationship of the United States broadly with the African continent. Now, I realize the continent has a lot of different nations, different countries that are part of it. But President Trump is not known to care much about Africa. He has talked about it in very derogatory language. His comments about USAID have had nothing to do with Africa. They've had to do with downsizing the scale of government and the perception of corruption and policies that are not consistent with his own. He's not framed any of this in terms of African needs or whatnot. So when you think about that, what do you think is the possibility of changing the dynamics of the relationship between the Trump administration and African leaders when it doesn't seem to be on his radar screen?
To be honest with you, why should African leaders care? Why should Trump care about Africa? He shouldn't care about Africa to the same extent that the African leaders really shouldn't care about a relationship either. If the relationship can be worked out, that's wonderful. But if President Trump is saying, I have a mandate from my own people to take care of my people, and I'm doing what I need to do to take care of my people. African leaders need to take that same position. You see, it takes two to tango. If President Trump does not want a relationship with Africa, Africans shouldn't be begging for it. Are you with me?
Do you think this will transmit to the way Africa deals with Europe? With France, with Germany?
I'm hoping that this will translate into African leaders looking from within, because they don't really need to keep looking outside. They have what it takes. It's a wake-up call, just like what happened during COVID. It was a wake-up call for African leaders to realize that you must begin to look within Africa to take care of yourself. When the chips were down, the world walked away from Africa during COVID. So that's a reality. No supplies were coming to Africa. Africans were not manufacturing anything, and African leaders were forced to look from within. This, I'm hoping, is another wake-up call where African leaders also begin to realize we must look from within. But let me underscore this. The average African leader and majority of leaders of developing world, I can tell you, they are celebrating the exit of USAID, and we hope that there will be exits of many other NGOs that are carrying out nefarious activities in Africa and anywhere else in the developing world in order to further the agendas of their governments, which is to continuously destabilize, divide, and conquer.
To be quite candid, Ambassador, much of the world looks at the African continent as a gold mine, as a diamond mine, as a mine for precious materials and resources, which we've talked about. One of those other major powers, rising powers in the world, is China.
Yes.
China has huge stakes, and there's always been the narrative that America is not doing aid very well in Africa, that China is beating us. Bono would come out and say, hey, in all of the refugee camps and whatnot set up in Africa, even the tents say made in China, even though the United States may be providing the support.
Yes.
That there's a lot of both criticism and acclaim for the fact that China has been involved in recent decades in helping Africa develop its infrastructure and whatnot, to position itself better in Africa than the United States and maybe Europe have with regards to resource agreements in Africa. So is China the next villain in the story?
Well, again, my position is Africans must take a position and protect their turf. China wants to come and exploit Africa. They'll get away with it to the extent that Africans allow them. The United States wants to come and exploit Africa. They'll get away with it to the extent that the Africans will allow them. The question is, does Africa have an African position when they come to the negotiating table with the world? The answer right now is no. Africa must unite. Africa must speak with one voice, and Africa must go to the world stage with one voice, one agenda, one plan that the world will have to respond. But as long as Africa is going to the world as bitty little countries, as Togo, as Eswatini, as Guinea-Bissau, Africa is fighting a losing game. Africa must unite, and Africa must speak with one voice. That is the only way a strong, united Africa can take a rightful place on the world stage and be respected and stop the exploitation.
Why is it so hard?
I think it's a long history. If you go back to colonization, if you go back to the Christianity and how it was introduced, how we were trained to be subservient. In Africa, the rules of the game were the same. I think that what was done to brainwash Black people around the world, long before they even left Africa, we are still suffering from that legacy of colonization, the legacy of slavery, where the people in power, they themselves don't believe they can do it. We still have leaders who believe you can't make it unless you're working with white people. We have individuals who think only something brought in by white people is what's likely to succeed. With that kind of mentality, it is a very difficult battle. Our battle to succeed, to unite as the African continent, it is a battle of the mind. And each and every African must realize that we are defeated where it matters the most.
We want to come forward, just a little piece left, but, it's the time when... And she's setting some points that we need to think about. Marcus Garvey, words them just are floating on my head when me hear she talk. Africa must look about Africa. Africa for Africans, those at home and those abroad. You see, Donald Trump come and say America is America. And he must say, him not take no foolishness from the rest of the country them and all these things. He must look out for America. So why is Africa not looking out for Africa, but to continue to make these people come in our countries, our continent, draw out the mineral resources, and then colonize us again very secretly with them politics and them religion. So this sister is right on the button.
Legacy of colonization, the legacy of slavery, where the people in power, they themselves don't believe they can do it. We still have leaders who believe you can't make it unless you're working with white people. We have individuals who think only something brought in by white people is what's likely to succeed. With that kind of mentality, it is a very difficult battle. Our battle to succeed, to unite as the African continent, it is a battle of the mind. And each and every African must realize that we are defeated where it matters the most, which is the mind. Brainwashed to the core. Brainwashed to not believe in ourselves and what we can do as individuals. Wherein lies the problem.
I won't call them nationalists, but our continentalists are those that are trying to, as you say, take stock of their situation and raise up Africa and their nations by their own bootstraps to be less dependent on external countries and investment and aid. Is that flavor beginning to take hold? Is that sort of leadership being, is it more and more evident, or do you think you have a big lift ahead?
I think what's happening in the United States through President Trump is going to make them realize that this is what you need to do. You're going to have to pull yourself up by the bootstraps. President Trump is saying, I have a mandate, America first. So you Africans, are you going to sit back and just wait and see the next move that President Trump is going to make? Or you're going to also say, I have a mandate from my people, and I'm going to do what I need to do. Take inventory of what you have in your country. Use it and use it wisely. No more begging. You don't need to have anybody filling the gaps in your educational system. You don't need anybody filling the gaps in your healthcare system. You don't need anybody creating initiatives in the most remote parts of your country because they claim that you, the government, cannot have access to that. How can somebody come from all the way from the United States, all the way from Britain, and access the most remote part of your country that you in your country cannot access? It is the most stupid thing. When you listen to the justifications and the explanations as to why they are there, it's a joke, and this needs to stop.
Just finally, Ambassador, when you look at U.S. behavior retracting, we've just got a minute left, but I would love to know from you, what do you think about the UN? What do you think about the International Court of Justice? Because probably the contraction that we're talking about is going to happen in a lot of institutions. Do you worry that Africa will be worse off without those institutions?
No, those institutions were created after the Second World War. United Nations, it took 4 weeks to create the United Nations. Why? In order to help the recovery of Europe. The World Bank, the IMF, it took 3 weeks to create them after the Second World War in order to aid in the recovery of Europe from its own self-implosion and destruction. So no. These institutions were not created to benefit the developing world. To the contrary, they were built to steal from the developing world. Their success is based on the failures of the developing nations where they have been stealing from. So no. We must celebrate what President Trump is doing by exiting the United Nations, by exiting the World Health Organization. We need the U.S. to exit the World Trade Organization because they are doing nothing on the African end. They're giving a blind eye to blatant exploitations, unequal, uneven trade policies that are hurting Africa. You take, for example, cocoa. Majority of the cocoa coming out of the world comes from West Africa. And yet it's only recently that African nations were allowed to add value to their cocoa. The World Trade Organizations, we may have a sister in charge.
Well, Ambassador Adikana Chihombori Kwao, grateful. Whenever I talk to you, it is a new reset for us to hear your very fresh takes on the world. Ambassador Chihombori Kwao, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Steve, as usual, for having me. It's been wonderful. I always enjoy talking to you.
Thank you.
I appreciate your good work. Keep up the great work.
Yes. Chihombori. Shut out the thing, and you see, the problem with these things, is that when you tell people, say, Africa is a rich continent, they must say they know so much poor people there. And there's so much different aspect of it where you can look on. One is colonialism. Two is that these countries come like sheep, but them is wolf. Them come dig out the mineral resources, which is now the people them, the youth them from Burkina Faso and Togo and Marley and now Senegal are coming and say, but wait, we not get nothing out of this. All them do is send military going to your country in case of anything. And then them dig out resources and carry it go away. And make billions of dollars, while Africa still remain poor, even though it's the richest continent. So now Donald Trump come and show them, say, look here, America, we are dealing with, So you see all the money that we are giving all over the place. We are pull it back, and use it to help America. That is the attitude we must have, and that is the attitude of Marcus Garvey. The talk about when them say Africa for Africans. Nationalism, African nationalism, Africa for Africans. Yes. Maybe you have to take a book out take a page. You say take a book. Maybe you have to take a page out Donald Trump book where he might look towards America and exploit the people them in America. Just like how Biden and Kamala Harris, they go down to Africa. Well, Kamala them same go down there. To get the people them, to give them aid and money, to accept homosexual behaviors and practices. They was giving away money, I think Jamaica was part of that too. LGBTQRST, they must giving them money and aid to recognize that form of behavior. The African them say, no way. And then put some stringent measures upon the African leaders them. After them decide that is not part of them culture, them not accept it. Now, see our next man come again and a draw away aid. Warm to the African people them. Warm to the leaders in Africa. With them there. Come forth, Mama Africa. Hello, Mama Africa. How are you? Serious music them. Listen to the words of the lady that just talked. And you realize how important Marcus Garvey words is. Yeah, man. Marcus Garvey words is that should be steering these leaders. And also us up here too. Because the leader them up here so blind and deaf and dumb. And past the stage of stupidity. Serious thing. Hope you still there we want to play this. Well, people don't know what is going on in Africa. And it might look like nothing is happening, but there's so much things that is happening in Africa right now that we need to keep up with it, Like we're going to play, so now we're going to play this. Listen.
What if the next big breakthrough in energy didn't come from a Silicon Valley lab, but from a workshop in Zimbabwe, Africa. Imagine a car that never needs charging, unlike Tesla or internal combustion engine cars powered by fuel. These new cars and a racing motorbike are being powered by something called microsonic energy. This is the reality of Zimbabwe-born inventor Maxwell Chikumbutso, a 44-year-old man and a high school dropout.
The vehicle uses what we call the microsonic energy device. Microsonic energy device, which is the device that I personally invented in 2009, which harness radio frequencies, converted it into energy. As you know, radio frequencies, they are measured in nanovolts, meaning to say that less than a volt, they are just like nothing. But we find a way of harnessing it through the creation of the 70% of the components in the microsonic energy, which I tailor-made to have designed. So with this car, you can also use it to power your house. It is a moving generator. When you drive from work back to your home, you can connect your power cable, then you can power your house. It gives you 15 kilowatts power to power your house.
The microsonic energy-powered vehicles and motorbike will officially be launched by the President of Zimbabwe on February 10th, 2025. These cars promise an unlimited driving range, top speeds of up to 220 kilometers per hour, and the ability to power your home just like a Tesla, all without ever having the need for even just a single charge. But his journey hasn't been easy. Years ago, Chikumbutso was poisoned in the US, losing his business partner in the process. He even received threats on his life. Despite these challenges, he persevered, driven by a belief in his vision.
We were poisoned at that time. Tukachedi didn't make it. He died in January 2017. I survived by the grace of God. So I was always in Zimbabwe and making it to South America until SE heard about myself. Then he invited me. The president, yes. Then he invited me to come back and put my base in Zimbabwe. So right now I'm based in Zimbabwe. Best advantage. They put it, the driving range is unlimited. I charge this way, I use my kids. I'm going to driver for the next 20 years. In the motor carriage, she have a market. From 2015, we have been working hard, testing it, homologations, CPCA certifications, ISO certifications, FCC standards. Even when it comes to Zimbabwe, 2018.
You are the inventor.
Yeah, the one who invented the technology.
Maxwell Chikumbutso's story is as incredible as his inventions. A self-taught genius, he began tinkering with gadgets in the late 90s, building radio transmitters, digital navigators, self-powering televisions, and even a turbine engine from scrap metal. He says his inspiration comes from visions, ideas that come to him in the night.
Is there any other technology?
With this technology, no, this is the first vehicle in the world.
Where is it?
Yes, Zimbabwe.
This is the only thing. It's more than 3 million. I said, let them eat that. Come here, eat that.
This was a presentation to the president of Zimbabwe, who has been the financial force behind this project. But the microsonic energy-powered vehicles will officially be launched on February 10th, 2025. The highlight of the pre-unveiling at the presidency was obviously the car, which he made in collaboration with a Chinese automaker. According to Chikumbutso, he partnered with Chinese carmaker Kaiyi to make the car, which is called the Kaiyi Safe. Chikumbutso says the car has an unlimited driving range. It does not need any charging. It just works, just like that, and it can hit a top speed of 220 kilometers per hour, as well as power your house, just like a Tesla. So according to Chikumbutso, the deal is, Kaiyi provided the vehicle, and he basically installed the microsonic motor into the vehicle. If fully produced, the vehicles could cut Zimbabwe's fuel imports, and Chikumbutso suspects that the oil and vehicle manufacturers in the United States could have had a hand in his poisoning. Soon, Zimbabwe will launch to the world what her young minds can do for the country and humanity, said the president. Please support our effort to scout the internet and bring forth uplifting updates about the mother continent every now and then by donating a super thanks of any amount.
Yes, that's what's happening in Africa. Too much time we hearing the bad things and the this and the that. But imagine, you know, Tesla is the thing now. By the way, you hear them do with Tesla. For those of you who don't know, Tesla is a car. I see one of them out here, you know, a white one out here, you know. Well, apparently, many people demonstrating against Elon Musk all over the world, not only in America, all over the world. Because not only that, him make a Nazi signal on stage. You know, him also attack in South Africa now because him make Donald Trump start to lick in South Africa. Him being a African, born in Africa, South Africa, and was privileged. He was one of the privileged white them under apartheid who used to benefit from black labor and now become one of the richest man in the world. And because the African them decide, say, they will have a land reform in that 70% of the land is owned by 7% of the population. I know the population is white, 7% is white people. Can you imagine 70% of your land is owned by some foreigners who come there and have your great-great-grandfather and mother in a bondage? And now when you come and say you're going to make some new laws to govern the acquisition of land, that the land can be equally distributed amongst the population, you come here now say, he's a terrible person. And this is what Elon Musk did. And then Donald Trump take it up and say, I'm going to lay certain sanctions upon South Africa. And you know, the South African, them was the one who did actually raise up and say Netanyahu is a murderer. He should be brought to the court of justice. And they did carry him to the International Court of Justice, criminal court, and say him is a criminal, him is wanted. Well, so far, him go going in a country where them would have lamp on him. The country them where him going is countries where sympathetic to for him cause. So now we say, him still upon the loose in a Gaza, still a kill people and a bomb people, and still recognized by Donald Trump. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump just sent him a massive amount of weapons. Massive amount of weapons. So you see that the American system is not different. It look different sometimes, but it's not different. Because the same thing the whole of them are defend. Same thing the whole of them are defend. That's why when we listen to all the sister we talk a while ago, we say, we need the aid from them for them aid connected to other things. Them aid connected to other things. And we have to realize that. We can't just go on like we are more dummy and puppet pan string. So we have to recognize that them are look out for themselves. And we are going like we want to look out for them. We take a break and come for.
The first non-African people came to Egypt, otherwise called the Hyksos, in 1675 BC. The Africans there were already in the 13th dynastic period. They had built every pyramid you saw there before. They had done the S-turn in the Nile. They built every one of the major temples that had already been built, including the Grand Lodge of Luxor. The first European to come there did not arrive until the Greeks arrived with Alexander II, the son of Philip of Macedonia.
Look, I'm a college graduate. I never heard all this stuff.
Because they didn't intend to teach you that. They can't tell you that you're inferior and teach you that you taught Egypt, Europe. The first Europeans to be civilized by the Africans were the Greeks. When you heard of Homer, the first European to have written anything, you couldn't miss that. They said that Homer wrote the Iliad and the Odyssey. And that was not until 833 BC. The Africans had already in 255,000 at the Tassili Mountain. They had the civilian period, first, second, and third, the pre-dynastic period, all the way up. The Africans had produced men like this, Imhotep, the multi-genius that designed the step pyramid of Saqqara, the first man to be a physician that even Hippocrates, the so-called father of medicine, is giving him credit and calling him the god of medicine. The Greeks changed his name from Imhotep to Aesculapius. There he is. The Arab conquerors. The Arabs didn't come to Egypt until 640. The first non-African people came to Egypt, otherwise called the Hyksos, in 1675 BC. The Africans there were already in the 13th dynastic period. They had built every pyramid you saw them before. They had done the S-turn in the Nile. They built every one of the major temples that had already been built, including the Grand Lodge of Luxor. The first European to come there did not arrive until the Greeks arrived with Alexander II, the son of Philip of Macedonia.
Look, I'm a college graduate, but I never heard all this stuff.
Keeps me puzzled. Despite having studied finance and economics at the world's best universities, the following question remains unanswered. Why is it that 5,000 units of our currency is worth 1 unit of your currency? Africa, in every possible way, since alternative resources are scarce out here, and nearly surviving on the mercy of the West. Well done, Oxfam, that continuously run multi-million-dollar advertisement campaigns depicting charity porn, charged with German intellect and technology, and maybe some Italian pasta. We want to share with you our wealth and invite you to share with us on the post-colonial free meal system. Foreign exchange reserves from African countries based on colonial debt they force them to pay, overexploiting the resources they depend on as nourishment. Natural selection would sooner or later.
Yes, Mandingo.
Yes, Muta, but long time I wait. Anyhow, we still celebrate my birthday, which was Tuesday the 18th, and my daughter yesterday, Wednesday the 19th, March. We still celebrate my birthday, which was Tuesday the 18th of March.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, okay, and my daughter, which was the 19th of March. Okay. Anyhow,
so you're about 89, you know?
No, man, 16. 16 years old. Yeah, man. Okay, all right, sir. Yeah. All right. Wednesday, the 12th of March. You know the same. Today for me, tomorrow for you. Yeah. Keith Rowley, the Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister, African, announced in reaction to the British decision that as from the 12th of March, people from Trinidad and Tobago have to have visas to come to Britain. While in the 1990s, the boy Tony Blair and the Home Secretary David Blunkett stopped Jamaicans from coming to Britain without visas, right? And none of the people from the other islands protested and said anything. But now, Keith Rowley, who is stepping down as Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister, is vexed and cursing the British for now saying that Trinidad and Tobago citizens have to have visas, like Jamaicans, to come to Britain. You see the double standard. When it never affected them, it was no big thing. But now, I say, Britain wicked and that type of thing. Yeah, man. And we know, say, when they bring it against Jamaicans, the boy Tony Blair and David Blunkett, is racism. Because the vast majority of Jamaicans are Africans, as we know, and that type of thing. In fact, I have a brethren in Trinidad that when him and him Trinidadian wife used to come, him have to get visa, and him wife, even though Trinidad and Tobago is a republic and Jamaica is not a republic up to this day as we talk, him had to get visa. So now, since the 12th of March, them in the same discrimination thing where we having as Jamaicans. And we know Jamaica must become a republic. We can't be so-called independent and have a foreign European as our head of state. And PNP and GLP are play around with this thing with all kind of excuses not to get rid of the slave mentality. And we have to get rid of the Privy Council too. How can we be independent?
That keep it up, the PNP has said them now accept that unless it's connected to the Privy Council. So they must have an international court of justice right on in the Caribbean and so.
Yes, the Caribbean Court of Justice, the CCJ, we know that long time. It's long time that to go on. We already have that. Jamaica must become a thing of that. And there's not supposed to be no hold up. But it shows the slave mentality of both PNP and GLP. They still have Jamaica, which is an African country. See, built by the blood, sweat, and tears of our African ancestors. See? Right? Not a republic. Trinidad and Tobago Republic, Barbados Republic, Dominica Republic, Guyana Republic, in the land and the land of Marcus Garvey, the greatest African leader, not a republic. None of that. So we just have to say that out there straight up and thing, and thing. And we have to say condolences again about the sad passing of Cocotti from Rocky Point, man. Yeah, man, know him from when him just coming out of the business. Because a Danny Dread, my brethren from Greenwich Farm, I play John Sound, Volcano, in a Clarendon, a Veer, and Cocotti, as I hear a youth, I sing from the sound, and then say the youth a bad man, and say, you can come check John Joe, and the rest is history. You know what I mean? So I have a sound system, Cocotti, get him highlight. So big up Danny Dread, my brethren from long time, I used to play the sound, Volcano, and thing. Yeah, man. And here Starmer again, man. People them revolt, man. Even him own MPs, them force him to back down. Because what Keir Starmer and his people were trying to do is to stop giving money to people who are disabled and mentally ill, to say that they must work. But the Labour MPs so vexed about the horrible nature of that decision that it forced to back down, so that the disabled people and people who are mentally ill will continue to get their money, what you call PIP, personal independence.
America now with Trump and him friend them.
Yes.
But draw money from the veteran them and people who disabled and all them somewhere.
Yes, so you see, same type of thing where Trump doing. I you see how them renew the slaughter in Palestine with full backing. No from difference Trump. Between Democrat and Republican, as Malcolm X said.
Same government.
Man. Same government. Same thing in Jamaica, PNP and GLP. 6 or 1, half a dozen of the other. Play the people them. Yes, serious thing. Yes, So so the fight goes on to keep the Marcus Garvey Center in Nottingham in our hands still, because as I told you, they're trying to take it away from us, just like the Bridge Park Community Leisure Center in Stonebridge.
What am I saying?
Well, it's still out there. The battle is still going on, both in Nottingham and in Stonebridge thing there. So now if you keep you posted, so you know what happened. So the battle is still going on. And remember that Friday is the anniversary of Sharpeville, in 1960, when them shoot down 69, at least kill 69 of our people, the 21st of March. Sharpeville, 21st of March, 1960. The Pan-Africanist Congress members who demonstrated against the past laws. were shot down, you know, and that type of thing, you know. Serious situation, you know. And yes, that is the situation, and the crime situation here is still bad, but Jamaica is worse in this sense, Muta. You know that Barbara Gale who was murdered, the person has been arrested, the boy who they say, you know, murdered her. But look at the woman from Westmoreland who was killed some months ago. You remember the case? And also the woman in Ocho, the nurse who was retired, come from Canada, who was robbed, raped, and things. People have not heard anything further if those responsible have been arrested, and justice has to be not only done, but must be seen to be done. And this is why a lot of people are afraid about the crime situation in Jamaica. People are murdered, and you don't hear any outcome in a lot of the cases. And I mentioned those two prominent cases, you know, of the woman in Ochi. You know about that situation. Where
most of them you hear about it still. Most of them you hear about it, really. And I know the police them kill more youth now with the gun them. We shoot after them planes, so they go youth them shoot after them. I say there's more dead from police bullet now. This
more dead from police bullet. Yeah. But can you tell me what has been the result since the murders of that woman from London in Westmoreland and also the lady in Ocho?
I don't know what did happen.
Well, can you check out those two cases there? Because we have some people who return to Jamaica to live after years abroad from England, States and so. And them say them afraid and regret coming back to Jamaica because they have been robbed in 7 years and things. We just have to say.
Meanwhile, you have said that enough one may see come from England say, why them well want to come back at them yard and then come back and buy a house all over the place. St. Thomas.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
Long Ocho, you say. Enough ones.
Well, ironically, two of the people who came back in the 1990s is in the Ocho area them live. And them now say, them did glad like those we are talking about, but them now say, them sad because they have been victims of robbery by gunmen in them yards.
Yeah.
Them say in the last 15 years or so, the situation, them used to feel safe, because crime everywhere. But them, in the last 15 years or so, the robbery and gun thing has made them scared, and they have been victims.
Yeah.
The gunmen come in at them yard and them say, his boys in at them 20s and 30s. We are doing that.
18 too.
And yes, you take the word out of my mouth. One of the cases them say is like an 18, 19-year-old. Yes.
Mm.
So it's a serious situation where we can sweep under the rug muta, as you know. Because progress happens. People need to feel relatively safe where them live. You know what I mean? You know? So, yeah, so next time, please make some check and let me know the result of what happened to those responsible for the murder of the lady they wrote in Westmoreland. And also
she didn't know anything about it. She didn't know anything about it.
Oh,
I don't hear anything further, you know. As
I'm saying no hear nothing further.
We hear the news and then we don't really hear no follow-up.
Exactly, Shane. Exactly. My point.
All right,
don't hear nothing about, we don't hear nothing about who killed Tabby Diamond. We don't hear the outcome of the murder of Bridget Tabby Diamond.
Who killed the brother? Who killed him?
But we need something official, Muta. We know what you mean, because we kind of hear them down there too. But we need official declaration. And that we want.
Yeah.
And that's why I say...
Where's the official way? You mean from the authorities?
Yes. We want the current administration, the GLP administration, the Minister of Security and the current police to make official declarations here about these questions that I have asked about those murders. What are the results? If the people have been caught and so.
Well, I don't know if my source is official, but I consider it official when them say them kill the brother who kill him.
No, I want it more
from
official
police
than
I
that.
hear it, but I know the one them who...
No, I want it from the police. I want it from the police, Muta, straight up.
Okay.
And in the other cases, so I want it from the police, the commissioner of police. I Mandingo want it from the commissioner of police.
Right,
that in PFA though. They account to I and I. And we rule, and we are the people, as Marcus Garvey say.
All right.
All right?
Yeah,
blessed love, every time. Aye, right.
Resistance against the oppressive, suffocating grip of occupation and the callous denial of the most basic human dignity. Just as the civil rights movement in the United Israel in 1948 brought forth the mass expulsion and to exist in peace and security, free from the ceaseless specter of violence and dispossession.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Blessed. Yeah, I hear me. Blessed.
Talk all the man, I go cut you off.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Muta, blessed.
Blessed man.
Yeah, but yeah, I hear me clear now. Hear me, I say now. See, like how, me see the artists never get back in visa, you know. Bounty Killer get back in visa, you know, and Bounty Killer, that's sorry. See, Cartel get back free over there, and Buju get back free. See, some of them know how Popcorn can get back free visa.
You ask me that?
Yeah, see, in identification still, you don't know. See, me at that time.
No, I don't know about Popcorn and visa, Rasta. I never even know about Popcorn and no visa.
You never hear that?
No, I not listen. But today, I know when they get back from visa too. I not keep up with that.
Oh, should I think they come from radio regular music?
No, and everything come from radio, me hear, you know, like the person that told me about a murder where I go on, where it go on. I hear about it, but I don't know where it happened with that. So I don't know why it interests you how Popcorn get back in visa.
Yeah, come here.
Over a decade now, where we not get film visa back, you know.
Who that?
Eh?
Who that you say not get back in visa?
No, I say over a decade. When we not get back in visa, we're gone away today. I guess them gone away.
Oh, Bounty Killer 15 years later.
Yeah. So, I don't think Popcorn never had no visa for 15 years.
Well, I don't know how long still, but a long time.
Yeah, well, I don't know, Virgin. You have to go ask somebody, trust me. The entertainment reporter come on our boss and ask Shamara them.
Yeah. And some fight are going on.
Fight are going with who?
You see.
Fight are going with who?
The Jamaica government are fight against Popcorn.
So them never fight against Bujuto and Vibes Cartel and Bounty Killer. Them never fight against Bounty Killer.
You go to look at the Popcorn and get a harder fight.
Why? How long no Popcorn and no visa?
I suppose over 10 years.
Then over 15 years, Bounty Killer and no visa?
Yeah, but Mr. No father might get back to that system. Get back to him.
No, but they say a fighter go on is a 15 years Bounty Killer no have no visa, and at 10 years you say Popcorn have a visa. So what is the difference? Why you think them a fight against Popcorn and never did a fight against Bounty Killer?
Why me say that? Because when I tell when Popcorn and chat in the UK, see the police, they will not pressure him up, they are not search up and not pressure him hard. And when time Popcorn check you out, the police then explain to him and tell him, say get report from the Jamaica government. Say certain things from that side, they will pressure him. So we find out that the Jamaica government are fine. Popcorn, because even Ricky Super, me for radio did that, you know, it's a long time, but God, the US tell it after they died at that time. See, and this is a funding time, the Jamaica government fight against him, see, because I say, when I time, they got embassy, them men are asking about short, man, this and that, and enough things. So, Mr. say, enough injustice are going, guys.
So, what do you think about Bounty Killer and Fame One? You know, think they will fight against him too?
Yeah, they will fight against him, yes, because they're 15 years.
But then get back a visa after 15 years.
Eh?
Bounty Killer get back in visa after 15 years.
Yeah, after 15
so maybe Popcorn will get back Fame One after 13 years.
Well, we have to see what I go and see, because most of them are getting back. I look back, Buju will spend 10 years in prison in the US and get it back.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Man, like, Popcorn should I get it back by now, still coming up. Yes, him convict.
No, Bridget, no, anything there, you know, and it's not really, it's not something where me sit down and murmur about and call radio station about.
Now, when you through them things in the public, still, so we have to talk.
No, I'm not saying no, but I'm not tell you, say, my priority is not that. To be honest with you, my priority is not that.
Yeah.
All right?
I would say, look, you see,
Popcorn go Canada.
Yeah, man, you go Canada.
You go England.
Yeah, man, I go England, but at the US.
Yeah, but the other time when Bounty Killer couldn't go nowhere.
Yeah, because even the UK a long time, Bounty Killer never chat the UK. So.
Yeah, you know that means a long time Bounty Killer never go nowhere. So him did a more stringent thing than Popcorn. Because at least Popcorn could have fly to Canada in a private jet and all them something there. Anyway, I hope you see tomorrow.
With the UPM board thing, you know, all over that here, if tomorrow get back your money, you start. See, that thing then I write still can the man work hard for money.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing.
That's a long time, no.
That is a terrible part. That's a terrible thing right now.
Yeah, that's a terrible thing.
I remember terrible thing that.
Remember the Prime Minister, they have an account at the same bank and him close.
You out Fame One before everything happened.
Yeah, before everything happened. So when we find out a general ship are gone. See what I say? Somebody are looking at Tankal tune in your general ship. So see what I say? That mistake I go on please. I come to sink our general ship. You see what I say? Yeah. See what I say? We are a general ship. So all of who we are feeling at the general ship, I come to sink. You see what I say? Yeah.
All right, so give thanks, yeah?
Yeah, man, bless it.
Yeah. Yes, I am on.
Speak
I am. Wagwan. Muta.
Yeah.
What's going on, I am, man? I am John from Dallas Mountain, you know, man. I tell I have been here, I hear you up, man.
Continue, Jaguan.
In a day, man, there at least you, man, in a year, 10 years, man. Because from you, from 1972, you know, me, I used to ride around Jamaica, I tell I have been here, you know, Profile and all them, man, you know. I fire and all them, man, there's youth, man.
What is your name?
I am Johnson, Dallas Mountain, man.
Okay.
Remember me, 1977, 1977, I have been here at Dallas Mountain, you know, man.
I remember.
Yeah, you shot all over Jamaica, and I have been here, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in the same 70s, the man on the trad all up a Willowfield all a being there when Burger read it and beat up Rasta and take a Rasta in at them time, the man at time we are youth.
We have to run.
Eh?
We have to run left them.
Yeah, man, I tell you, man. All over Jamaica, I hear shot now being here, man. I want to tune in, you know, since a long time, you know.
So which part is there all the while?
Nothing I is the St. Andrew, man. The last time you see her when you have the thing, Kingston Technical, you know.
Okay. Which part of St. Andrew you live?
Well, where you come at the bingo over in a Dallas Mountain, you know. But we are me buy the place.
St. Andrew, but over the other side.
Yeah, man. Say that again.
We live at St. Andrew, but at the other side.
Me know, man. Me know. Me there in the East Rural or in the West Rural.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Me there nearer to the peak.
Yeah, me know. Remember Dallas Mountain, man.
Yeah, man. I'm going to hear the fall eyes. I am so flying and all, man, you know. Because remember, so tough higher than either them time as I tell him touch the job and I'm going in beat as I tell lion, you know, man.
Well, we used to beat the gold, man. I still beat the gold.
Yeah, man, I tell lion, man. We give thanks here, man, and thing I know that things going on, man.
Yeah, man, we're still there, man. I got you, you know.
Yeah, because we fight the revolution from then time till this time. To me, I know you come up and stand up almost like Marcus Garvey, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
All right, so I give thanks, Virgin.
Yeah, man. I'm here to Pi and here to Profile and all them, man. I'm mother fire the around Portland, you know, because we talk about the backlash, how do I know?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, big up mother fire for them longer time. Because when I tell you,
she passed away, you know. She dead, you know.
Eh, when?
She dead, man, about 2-3 weeks ago.
Well, I never know, man.
Yeah.
Because when I tell you, know, our father and I have been here steer town of St. Anne's, you know, because our father was a Rasta, you know, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he them time they find all Negos, all the man, they about the Bongo Thomas and the Bongo Grotto, all the man, then time them come like the teacher fair, Yeah, come here always like to them on Negos, you know, because pure culture and talk, you know.
Yeah, Negos, yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Right, so give thanks to the Mutabaruka, I tell Naya being guy.
Every time.
Yeah, man, I have done from Dallas Mountain, man.
How is it?
Yeah, blessed.
Social media.
2 o'clock with the Stepping Razor, the art of war. I hope you can join me.